Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be, and welcome to a post about a scoring system for authors. It's a sort of speculation about how a submission system might work if you were trying to sort manuscripts according to quality. After reading The Red Labyrinth, a book by Meredith Tate that really copied too much from my first novel, My Adorable Apotheosis, I thought a bit about how a scoring system for authors might be used within the publishing industry. Literary agents are supposed to review all of the new work independently, but it wouldn't make sense for 100 agents to review the same awful manuscript when one agent might be able to review it and rank it so that the others could decide if they want to look more closely at it or not. The drawback of such a system is that it would be easy for insiders to game it and cheat. They could give their own books or the books of their friends high rankings, and if they were particularly diabolical, they could give a book an artificially low ranking so that they could steal it. I did actually wonder a little bit if this might have happened to my first novel, because I got no response from literary agents. I sent it out to so many. It would, at least a scoring system like that would certainly explain why it was plagiarized by 4 people after it was sent around to agents, because someone might have, thrown it in the trash pile and then somebody picked it up and said, oh, I can use this. What if someone gave my manuscript a 0 on a 6-point scale when it was really a 4 with the potential to make it to the 6th level with some expert editing? Instead of giving it a proper ranking, it was either thrown in the bone pile from which AIs and insiders steal with abandon, or it was contracted out to a series of ghostwriters who rehashed it so that the contractor could sell the products on the black market to established authors who wanted to continue building their brands. The only thing that is unusual about my case is that the book was plagiarized so many times, 5 times in such a short span of time, 2 years. If only one person plagiarizes your book, you'd never suspect that there was any black magic market or black market magic behind the crime. Rankings play such central roles in all of our modern systems, and we really should worry more about how they can be gamed and how people can cheat. Even with IQ, parents are told that it is a fixed property of a person, but they aren't told about how much environment influences it. They are also not told that high IQ can be just as much of a disability as an ability. High IQ people can quickly absorb languages, but that doesn't mean that they know how to think creatively or strategize. I've found that they often create unnecessarily complicated solutions to problems that can be solved more simply with a more lateral thinking style. Linear reasoning and associative reasoning must balance out, or else you will end up with myopia or hyperopia. Similarly, people with low or high IQ might end up with the same abilities when augmented by a simple computer that compensates for their weaknesses and allows them to shift their focus more quickly. Authorship of fiction today allows for similar sorts of compensation, as when a writer with a weak style but a strong ability to create an imaginative story can use an AI to give them the flowery poetic language that they lack. A writer with a weak ability to create narrative tension might steal a plot from the bone pile or from a writer who uses an unusual style. But I think that these augmented forms of writing lose authenticity, and I think they should be forbidden. But the law is only starting to catch up with that sentiment, and our algorithms are only starting to be able to diagnose when augmented writing or AI-assisted plagiarism is being produced. So one particular issue is that, a really smart author is probably smart enough to know not to steal, because if you put your crime on paper, you've left a paper trail for a crime. So a smart author is not going to do that. Only a really stupid author will do that. But if we set up a system that encourages quantity over quality, and we allow stupid authors to produce lots of work with the assistance of artificial intelligence that kind of supercharges their productivity, we have a recipe for creating stories that are produced by people with lower quality stories delivered to our children. You want smart people telling your children stories. You don't want stupid thieves telling your children stories. Despite all of the failings that the modern systems seem to have built into them these days, I'm held up by the knowledge that I've written some good books. And when a copy of my most recent book came in the mail, do I have it around here? This one. I'd ordered a copy of a recently published book on a similar topic from Oxford Press. Do I have that here? I do. This one was published around the same time. And, reading through both of them, I knew my book was so much better. I did a really good job, even though I couldn't get the attention of any literary agents or any help. I know I did a good job, and sometimes that is enough of a reward. At least it has to be in this day and age, because at the moment the markets are dominated by high productivity people who are using AI tools to amp up their production. I don't think that this author did that, but I just didn't enjoy it. I don't know. It felt archaic, like drawn from older texts. It's possible if you have a database of older texts that are out of print, you could construct a book like this, lickety-split. I like the imperfections in my books, and when I knew I was taking direct inspiration from somebody, I tried to cite it. I probably missed a couple, but I did try. And I know that isn't the tradition in fiction. In academia, you cite all of your sources. But in fiction, I tried to cite things. In contrast, in my nonfiction, I cited nothing. So I flipped the script. And that's one reason that this book would be criticized by academics. But I still think it's good because I drew it from my memories. I really was relying heavily on the classroom experience and trying to pour that into a textbook. So this is kind of like a textbook written like a fiction writer, whereas my fiction is kind of like fiction written by an academic. So I tried to reverse things. I don't know if maybe that's why I got rejected. If you check out my Amazon page, you'll find lots of books with covers in my unique black and white style. I know nobody likes them, but they make me look different. And maybe someday I will go color, kind of upgrade. I like the idea of sparkles. But they're all worth reading, and they are really unlike anything else you will find out there. And I think that's probably why they got stolen 5 times within 2 years. I really don't think like other people, and while that does make me a bit isolated, I think it makes me interesting. So if that sort of having confidence in that self-image helps somebody out there who is doubting themselves, I'm happy to tell you you're okay.